Welcome everyone, Christine here with a discussion about my Gyrocopter DOOMSTACK that I sent to Legend of Total War and he covered on his channel. Check that out, I'm going to provide the link in the description. But in this video I want to explain a couple of things about how this DOOMSTACK works, how you can acquire it, how easy it is to acquire it, and how powerful it really is. Some people looked at this and say, oh, you're going against vampires, why aren't you going against a ranged army? First off, there is no ranged army early on in a campaign. This is turn 40. There is no ranged army that AI can get that can stand up to this. Like, I'm not even talking about the troll hammers. I'm just talking about the brimstone guns and the regular gyrocopters, because regular gyrocopters and brimstone guns are very durable. They've got a good amount of armor, and in Malakai's case, they get extra survivability and a lot of extra damage. So there's nothing the AI can do. Like, I used this army to take Zarnagrund, and it wasn't reliant on the Trollhammer. So I dealt with 3 stacks around here in Zarnagrund, and I defeated that with relative ease, even with inefficient battle tactics, because I defeated the garrison of Zarnagrund just using gyrocopters, not really using my heroes as much as I could. Because this army is, of course, built on using your heroes, using Gotrek, using Felix, using Ulrika. Ulrika for magic, Gotrek and Felix for their sheer damage capability and survivability, because Gotrek and Felix are really powerful with Blood Oath, which gets upgraded to the bitter end. So that's the benefit that they provide. They're very durable. And with this army, you've got flying Iron Drakes effectively with brimstone guns. So you can let Gotrek and Felix be surrounded and then kill everything that's surrounding them. And range units, yeah, you're faster and longer range even with Trollhammers at least. You're longer range than most range units in the game. So by turn 40, what would you be facing really? Like what could you recruit to really deal with this? Very few things. And the real counter to these units are flying units. So Terrorgeist, Vargeist, Felbats, all those kind of things can deal with it. Now, the armies that are spawning here are spawning because of the Silver Pinnacle. So you get Silver Pinnacle at tier 2. If you get it at tier 2, or even at tier 1 and get it to tier 2 quickly thereafter, you can get the sealed tombs. And this will start spawning these endgame armies. It can be fairly nasty, but these are high-ranking armies. I'm not quite sure if they have any research, but that's a bit bugged, rank 0. So that's a bit bugged, but most of these guys like rank 7. Like at rank 0, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So these guys are supposed to be gold ranked units, but they literally spawned at rank 0. So that means they get no benefits, like if we look at like the stats here, but like the vast majority of these guys are as they should be. It's just a bug. Plenty of bugs with 5.0. Now, in terms of recruiting these easily, they're very, very easy to recruit. Like if we look at Krakodrak, we can get brimstone guns tier 3, we can get regular gyrocopters tier 2, and that's just for any dwarf campaign. As for troll hammers, yes, you do need to do the Age of Reckoning pretty fully. Pretty sure that you do need to like get the highest tier, so you need to get 100% in order to get the troll hammer. So that is pretty difficult, but you can do it. Like your first Age of Reckoning as Malakai is very easy to do if you play correctly. Your second one is a bit trickier, but what I did here is I went after Astrogoth. I also used my Grudge Settler army, the Doomstack that spawns when you complete an Age of Reckoning. I used it to take the Winter Pyre, and then I withdrew from that settlement, let Trog sack it, and so one of his armies got a lot of grudges. And did the same with Astrogoth. So that's how you complete the second, the third, you cheese the AI, you cheese that. Truth be told, once you enter Astrogoth's territory, you don't need to do it anymore. It's just like that second Age of Reckoning that's a problem. The third one, not really as much of an issue. Especially because you will have an adventure related to the gyrocopters that's going to spawn an army, a convoy army, that's going to give you a decent amount of grudges. So not a problem over here to fill up the grudge meter. In this particular campaign, and this army is specifically built for Malakai. It can work for other factions, but it's really going to work best for Malakai for a couple of reasons. For the second adventure, which you can start as your first adventure, you don't need to start the canon one. You can start this one. You'll get 3 units of gyrocopters. So 2 regular gyrocopters and a brimstone gun. And you start with the brimstone gun, so you would have like these 4 units very quickly, and you can get the other units very, very quickly as well. But you get through 4 gyrocopters, you get emergency repair. So losing these units is difficult because when their HP drops, they'll start replenishing HP. They have 360 missile block chance. Missile block chance plus 25%, so that's bronze shield, you get more experience, you get vanguard deployment. So that is the benefit of his adventure, and that missile block chance means that wherever you're being shot at, whichever direction you're being shot at, you will have that 25% missile block chance over here. But on top of that, you do get missile resistance, you get a lot of spell resistance, fire resistance, so these guys are fairly durable. How do you get all of that? Well, there's certainly research in the clans that you can get. I didn't get it here because you don't need it early on. Going for the guilds is much better. But through research, you get 15 armor for gyrocopters, and also thunder barges, funnily enough, and 10% extra missile resistance. There's a couple of other things that go into this, but you get the faction benefit of recruit rank plus 3. So you can recruit at a higher rank, faction-wide. You get all these benefits for experience, for power and bow. Then we look at Malakai. His Eye of Grungni ability gives allies in range missile damage, armor-piercing missile damage, and range. So that means even regular gyrocopters, not brimstone guns, not the troll hammers, are much stronger. Furthermore, his Lord effect gives you 20% missile strength. And then his special skill line gives you engineers in any province, hero capacity plus 2 for engineers, reload time reduction for those units, artillery master. I'm not sure if this affects the gyrocopters, probably not, but you do get the ranged munitions upgraded. And this is really powerful because you might think this army is really good at harassing enemies, but if you keep these units near Malakai, and it has to be pretty close, so you can't just get every single one of them, but if you put these units near Malakai, 50% armor-piercing missile damage and 50% base missile damage is pretty damn crazy. And then there's the engineer benefits. The engineers, of course, give you triangulation, so missile strength, ammunition, sapper, so speed, damage, and ammunition. So engineers can replenish ammo, but you may not need it. Like, I fought quite a few battles with this, and unless it's a very, very long battle, you will not need to replenish ammunition. Gotrek and Felix, well, Felix is because he's working well with Gotrek. Gotrek is here because he gives you various benefits against different factions, like leadership, armor when fighting Chaos Warriors, cast dwarf, spell resistance plus 15%. So keep in mind, these guys have 60% spell resistance by default. You get further when fighting Chaos factions. Against vampires, it's not the same benefit because it's weapon strength. But yeah, if you're fighting elves, for instance, you might think, oh, elves could counter this. Well, you're getting 10% range and 10% missile resistance for your entire army with Gotrek when fighting with that. So that all of that is really, really powerful for this particular army. Ulrika, she gives you enemy leadership reduction for armies in the local region, -6. And the brimstone guns already affect enemy leadership by 8 with their guns, with their flying flamethrowers. Then you get immune to psychology, you get 15% spell resistance, you get the fire resistance is coming from her. So all that is really useful. Only Malakai can get Ulrika, as the dwarves, pretty sure about that. So that is all very, very powerful. As for the runesmith gives you 10% resistance, various rune cooldowns for himself, of course, and crucially has the following benefits. Forge Fire, so you're reducing the armor of enemies by 15 in a close range. You're reducing enemy winds of magic. You're getting Rune of Hearth and Home for allies in range, so recovering vigor or reducing vigor loss. Immune to psychology, ward breaker, so reducing enemy spell resistance and missile resistance. So all of this ends up being very powerful. And you also have hardened armor, so you can improve the armor of these gyrocopters. That's the benefit there. This is an army that's fairly easy to get, relatively easy to use. It's not a Thunderbarge Doomstack, but it's like turn 40. And most of this you can get much earlier than this. In point of fact, the reason I sent this Doomstack to Legend out turn 40 as opposed to earlier is because, one, I wanted to get free Troll Hammers, and two, I wanted to actually have a powerful opponent, right? So this is one of the more powerful armies, because like the main counter to this army would be flying units, right? So these Terror Guides can actually do much better. Like Fireglaves can resist a lot of the damage, but they can't really do enough damage to kill them. Like Terror Guides can destroy the Gyrocopters if you're not careful if you can get engaged in a long melee fight. And certainly, like, Vargeist can do it, Fellbats can do it, so just be aware of that. But against flying units, you do have Malakai and the Engineers who can really destroy a lot of the flying units. So, and also, like, against enemy range units, you can, of course, use the Spirit of Grimney. You can use Gotrek and Felix to get stuck in with that. So that is the intent behind this army. It could be made better, but what I really like about this army and using it is, one, you can start building it very quickly. And two, the more you play a campaign, the stronger it gets. Because, like, you can eventually get items like Old Guard's Tankard for replenishment of HP in battle, Vigor Loss Reduction for your entire army, various other benefits over here like that, you know, Gatekeeper's Belt, all that. So that would take some time to get, and, you know, a lot of oath gold that you need for research. But the scalability of this army throughout your campaign, so it starts pretty solid. Like, the moment you get to, like, your first Troll Hammer can kill Legendary Lords early on, and regular Gyrocopters with Brimstone Guns or just regular Gyrocopters can do quite very, very well. But the more you play the campaign, the stronger it is. In terms of the unit experience, well, you get, through the adventure, you get more experience for these units. You get that recruit rank faction-wide benefit for Malakai. You have Gotrek with training. And then long-term, or longer term, you do get this structure. This is required to get to Ulrika. So Shooting Gallery gives you 300 experience gain per turn, increases recruit rank by 1. Or +2 if you get it to tier 3. You don't need surplus points beyond just getting it to tier 1. So you get a lot of unit experience per turn very quickly for Malakai. And you can recruit Master Engineers through the Spirit of Grungni. If you're not getting Troll Hammers, something else you can use would potentially be the Gyro Bombers, because, like, they could work well. They can fire while moving. They got those bombs, and there's various benefits. Like, there's an adventure here that buffs the Gyro Bomber as well, like ward save, better bombs, magical attacks, all that. That would work very, very well for them as well. I personally haven't used Gyro Bombers. Maybe that's the next Doomstack, a Gyro Bomber Doomstack. For this, probably not as good as the insanity of the Troll Hammers, but hey, it's an option if you want to go for it. It is a possibility if you want something to aim for. Just worth pointing out, like, you could start just using regular Gyrocopters and Brimstone Guns, and even if you're not getting Troll Hammers, you can, you know, obviously get cannons. You can get Gyro Bombers. So all of that, like, the scalability is very good for this kind of army. Malakai's insanity. Like, obviously a lot of people can make it work very well with cannons, but this is more flexible than the cannons because you have a lot more mobility on the battlefield. Also, worth pointing out that the bombs on the Troll Hammers do a lot more damage than regular bombs. So, yeah, limited unit, but limited unit recruitment here. There's only so many of these you can get, but still. Okay, so I'm just going to go into the battle and show how to use this. Well, Legend already showed that he did very well in that battle, but there's certain tricks, like with Malakai, right? Buffing these units. Like, these guys break endgame armies. Alright, Alright, so over here on the battlefield, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Gotrek, Felix, and Ulrika, position them over here, and same with the Runesmith. Going to take the engineers and Malakai and move them closer, because the AI is not going to harass us. Gonna put these in a control group, another control group, and these three in group 2. Like, I'm certainly gonna use the troll hammers to trivialize it, but bear in mind, this battle is certainly winnable even without them. So over here, we're just going to target the enemy lord and the flying units. Like, they can't shoot while moving, but damn, that is power. Now, you can use ballistic calibration, so you can shoot faster with them. Right in that situation. Jeez, that's certainly something, isn't it? Okay, so let's use his ability, and let's use him to target the lord. Like, why is the AI passive here, you might ask, even though this is literally the highest difficulty you can get. The reason the AI is passive is because the AI has a particular tendency of waiting for reinforcements. So I got 1 minute to kill as many things as possible here. Well, he's dead. But yeah, obviously it's much easier to target things when they're, you know, standing still over here. So let's just get those engineers back. They've done their job. So let's get those engineers. Let's get Malakai back as well, because he's also done his job. He buffed them up. Now, you can't fire while moving with troll hammers, and their accuracy does leave quite a few things to be desired, to be certain. I think I'm going to struggle a bit to target that terror guys. Like, 2 of them are dead. Or 3 of them, whatever. So let's just destroy the last 2 terror guys. Like, the trees are obviously blocking line of sight there. So we need to come in from a bit of an angle. Might have been better to deploy some of them on an angle. You do need to... Okay. Right, so they're coming in. Remember, we are faster than these guys in a straight-up fight, and let's just summon... you know what? I think I'm gonna wait with that Spirit of Grungni. Although I can obviously summon it to make my life even easier. Ooh, terror guys, go down. Let's summon some gyrocopters at least. You get that army ability by dealing with... Ooh, that's gonna be nasty. So summon the spirit over there. Because obviously, you know, the Spirit of Grungni would be a big part of using this particular army. That is so freaking awesome. So Vargeist coming in there. Terrorgeist is almost dead. Okay. So effectively the enemy army is neutralized. So let's just start getting these guys very, very quickly over here. And just pull these guys back. Pull our heroes back. Necromancer is dead. You gotta be a bit careful about like how you stack these guys, because you can certainly do friendly fire to yourself. Bear that aspect in mind. Like, if I'm losing units here, it's because, oh, I lost 2 guys. RIP! Okay. They're engaged in a bit of a melee contest right there. Alright, lost 1 unit there from the Vargeist. There's nothing they can do. So they're hitting the forest. So yeah, the main threat right there were of course those terror guys that could have really done a huge number on me. Yeah, this battle is over, more or less. Even without the spirit did nothing here. Well, it saved me a lot of time, basically. Okay, so some friendly fire. Just gotta be careful with that. Because, yeah, friendly fire... Like, when you have so many gyrocopters, it is a concern. Or maybe some bounce spells, I'm not sure. Might be useful to disable guard mode. So Hex Wraith's coming in. Damn. Okay. I can send Ulrika. Let's go after those Black Knights. Okay. Yeah, get Ulrika. And get him to, like, get these guys to start buffing each other. Buff Malakai even. Alright, get these guys. And get Gotrek and Felix to help out. We're surrounded, gentlemen. Whatever shall we do? Their leadership is gonna start crumbling soon enough. So I'm just gonna get some armor over here. Oh, you surrounded the Slayers. Good luck to you, sir. Now, obviously, the trees that we're fighting in will certainly protect them to a certain extent. But yeah, just use the flamethrowers. We'll obviously take a bit of damage here, but it won't really be that dangerous. Like, everyone's just trying to reach... Yep, there's a leadership debuff. Balance of power. It's all over. Minimal casualties. I've won this battle with only losing, like, 1 unit. That is freaking crazy. Like, here I obviously lost more, but, yeah. 4 people lost. Worst result. Okay, so the battle is over. If we look at the damage done, so I only lost 4 guys, could have even avoided that. If we look at damage done, like the troll hammers did like 30k, 40k, but if we look at the brimstone guns and we look at the regular gyros, they still, like, this unit did 10k damage, this unit did 11k, 10k. So while obviously troll hammers were carrying a lot of the battle, especially against like the large number of Terrorgeist that I had dealt with, which, like, in a regular campaign, you certainly wouldn't face this number of Terrorgeists. If you would ever face this number of Terrorgeists, you probably face more bats, really, which could be a bit more problematic, but that's why you have engineers. But if we look at the situation over here, like, if that battle had lasted longer, if the infantry hadn't just collapsed there at the end, you would see a lot more even score, actually, between the troll hammers and the brimstone. Now, obviously, troll hammers dealt with the biggest threats. That's kind of their role. A single troll hammer or 2 could have done that, right? So no problem. But yeah, like, damage-wise, in a long-term battle, the regular gyrocopters can keep up. Won't be as useful against as many targets, but to be sure, they'll be able to do their own thing. So that would be all. Very easy army to recruit, pretty easy to use. These guys, both these guys, damn, I killed them very easily and they survived. You gotta love vampire counts. I wonder if they do have research. Really, I do, genuinely. I wonder if these endgame armies start with research. They certainly have an upkeep benefit. They're taking attrition from the lack of They're taking attrition from the lack of vampire corruption, so that is obviously a problem. But still. And this campaign is not as crazy. Like, you might think, oh, this is an insane result you got. Like, yeah, sure, taking all of this territory, getting the Confederation of Belagar, that's a bit crazy, right? But getting all the Ages of Reckoning, not as crazy. It did take me, I don't know, 100 hours or so to figure out how to constantly get Ages of Reckoning in a campaign. So there is a learning curve. They're going to make that easier, so it's not really going to be a problem. There's, of course, going to be a limit on how many Troll Hammers you could get. I wish I could get more. Like, imagine Doomstacks made up entirely of Troll Hammer torpedoes. I wonder if that could compete with the Thunder Barge Doomstacks. Maybe they would. Because, like, these could beat the Thunder Barge. I'm not even joking. They certainly outrange... Like, the Thunder Barge could use the Spear of Grungni, but, like, outside of that, like... The Thunder Barge is much slower, even with that extra speed. Much slower, and wouldn't have the range to hit these guys. So it's like, dwarves are the only things that can counter dwarves. Okay, if you want to counter Thunder Barges, play Wood Elves. Like, specifically Sisters of Twilight with Hawk Riders. That's, and Sisters just in general being bullshit. But still. Costin signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications, and stay tuned for more. My intent was to make an army that is accessible, and not just like an army, oh, you can get this by like turn 100 and it costs like a third of your economy. This is a cheap army. Remember this, like, this is a very cheap army, and even if you take the Troll Hammers out, even if you take all the legendary heroes out, it's still a very, very effective army that can deal with pretty much anything that you face by this point in a campaign. Like, you could, for instance, get more... You know, you could get, like, Thane to replace Gotrek and Felix, Thanes to replace Gotrek and Felix, more Runesmiths, more Master Engineers. It would still work. It's obviously best with Malakai, absolutely, undeniably so, but it can work in other armies as well. Though I certainly have used more generic dwarf armies around my campaign over here. I haven't, like, you know, going for organ guns, all that. One interesting side note, though, I want to make... is like, if you go for gyrocopters in Malakai's army, then all the free cannons and all the free organ guns and all the free other adventure units that you have, you can put them in other armies and buff them up. Like, just giving Malakai, who alone with Gotrek and Felix can be a Doomstack on his own, giving him a lot of those organ guns and cannons is going to make him more powerful, but it gives you more campaign flexibility if you don't need to do that. So, this is a way of achieving that particular result. Costin signing out.